Hello and welcome to Euro Roundup. This is our new show where we look at the best and worst of European football. And today we're checking out the transfers of some of the biggest clubs around Europe. I'm joined by Joe Tomlinson from Football Daily.
Cheers, Pato. Let's kick it off with Juventus. Now, in my opinion, Juventus have had a fantastic summer. They've, of course, brought in Miralem Pjanic from Roma, who was comfortably one of Serie A's best central midfielders over the last 2 seasons. They've also brought in Piazza from Dinamo Zagreb, a really young Croatian exciting winger, potentially to replace Juan Cuadrado, who's gone back to Chelsea. And they've brought in Dani Alves, experienced Champions League winner. He's been there and he's done it all. He's really going to support Stefan Licht down that right-hand side. However, some of the transfers that could be happening are even more exciting. Number one has to be Higuain from Napoli. What a transfer that would be. How exciting for Serie A. It's only going to raise the profile and raise the ability in that league. If Napoli get 100 million euros for their striker, go out and spend it cleverly on some youngsters similar to how Borussia Dortmund have this summer, that would be a great move. And of course, Juventus would be getting one of the world's best strikers and could potentially challenge deep into a Champions League position. However, to fund 100 million euros, they're going to have to sell players. Maybe Paul Pogba or somebody else. We're not yet sure. What do you reckon about the sales, Pato?
Well, they'll try and hold on to Pogba if they can, but there are a few players who seem almost certain to be departing. Simone Zaza looks to be on his way out. He's been linked to West Ham as well as clubs around Italy. We've also heard about Pereira possibly going, maybe even going to Napoli as part of the Higuain deal, while Stefano Sturaro also seems to be on his way out. Now, Rugani is also another player we've heard about. This is a centre-back, a young centre-back, who looks to be the star of that central defence in future for Juventus. But there's a possibility that Juve would be willing to lose him if it meant getting in Higuain or possibly Mauro Icardi, who's also been rumoured. Now, that seems like a strange move to me because Barzagli, Bonucci and Chiellini are all ageing. And whilst we know that players do tend to hold on for a little bit longer in Serie A than in other leagues, I don't see them lasting forever. So, who do we think they need to get in those defensive positions? They've got Dani Alves there. He's not getting any younger, quality though he is. Patrice Evra is already 35. So, who do you think that they need to sign this summer in order to win the Champions League? Let us know what you think in the comments below.
The next team we're going to be looking at is Real Madrid. They've had a bit of a mixed window so far, haven't they, Pato?
Well, they've brought back Alvaro Murata from Juventus, who's an excellent young striker, and he could be there for years to come. He only cost them 30 million euros because they had a buyback, and there are still stories about interest from Chelsea and Arsenal, but it looks like he's going to be staying there for the time being. Now, that really addresses their centre-forward depth because now they've got Benzema, obviously, who plays there, Morata, who plays there, and Cristiano Ronaldo, who is not really a left winger anymore. He's been much more of a central striker over the last few years. But if he moves there, that might mean there's space on the left wing. The issue with Real Madrid isn't who they buy, it's who they don't buy. There are still problems and holes all over this squad. For the last couple of seasons, they've loaned out Fabio Contrao. They don't seem to think that he's good enough. And whilst Marcelo is still pretty good, they do need a backup in that position. There's also a real gap at defensive midfield if Casemiro gets injured, isn't there?
Yeah, there's a massive gap. I could not believe the Frenchman Zinedine Zidane did not move for N'Golo Kante. I'm sure that Leicester would rather have sold to a foreign team, being Real Madrid, not being a direct rival in the Premier League to like Chelsea. I couldn't believe he didn't move for it. Casemiro has so much pressure on his shoulders in that defensive midfield role. We saw when he got injured at the back end last season, Madrid really struggled without him. N'Golo Kante would have massively improved that team, and he wouldn't just have improved the squad. No, he wouldn't have been a bench player. He would have improved that first 11. He's that good, N'Golo Kante. And Zinedine Zidane, being a Frenchman, I thought he would have had a lot of influence, a lot of pull on N'Golo Kante. And I'm sure if Real Madrid had come calling for the Frenchman, he would have gone there rather than going to Chelsea. But he didn't. They missed out on him. So there's no defensive midfielder. Looks like they need to sign a left back, potentially another winger. And they've also got the problem in attacking mid, where they've got an abundance of talent. It looks like James Rodriguez may have to leave the club, and with the likes of West Ham being touted as potential suitors. However, 80 million euros they're asking for him. That's a lot of money for a player who hasn't been in and around the first team squad all that much last season. And now it looks like Isco's potentially stepped in above him under Zinedine Zidane's reign. So where does James Rodriguez fit in? Nobody's quite sure. There's still a hole at defensive midfield, and that backline needs some depth in behind it. So Real Madrid have got a lot of problems in their squad. They've also got the problem that Barcelona were better than them last year and are signing players like Denis Suarez, all of these youngsters that seem to be improving them further, and Real Madrid aren't catching up anymore. Real Madrid, you've got to drag Barcelona back now, make some Galacticos signings. Whether it's Paul Pogba or not, I'm not sure you can fund him, but it needs to be done. Zidane needs to go out and spend some money. Real Madrid, you really need to sort your shit out, because at the moment, you're falling too far behind Barcelona.
Next up, we come to Real Madrid's hated rivals. It's Barcelona, Joe.
Yeah, they do seem to be pulling further and further away in La Liga, don't they? As Real Madrid and Atletico struggle to sign real top-class players. But Barcelona, what they really struggled with last year, they had a fantastic first 11. They struggled with depth in the squad. Yeah. Now, they have signed young, talented players that are likely going to sit on the bench. The likes of Samuel Umtiti, what a fantastic signing that is. He looked brilliant on the ball for France, really composed at the back, just the type of player Barcelona like to sign. Lucas Digne, of course, as well, bringing him from PSG for about 16.5 million euros, playing at left back. Very exciting signing. Very good in the air, actually, for a left back. And of course, they brought in Denis Suarez from Villarreal, brought him back. They sold him to Villarreal in the first place. And he's a real combative midfielder. Very exciting, alongside the likes of Rakitic. Iniesta's not getting any younger, so you can see him replacing him. However, they do still need a right back, don't they, Pato?
Yes, well, it seems like Luis Enrique isn't entirely convinced by Alex Vidal, who they brought in last year. They also have Douglas, the right back, the Brazilian right back, who has never really made a place his own. He's already 25. He's been there for 2 years. He's played 8 times in that period, which is not terribly impressive. But they've suffered from some unexpected departures. They were really shocked when Marc Bartra left for Borussia Dortmund. Dani Alves, I think they knew about, but again, I wonder how they will adapt to a world where they don't have that dangerous presence on the right wing. It's a real issue for them because playing defence for Barcelona is actually quite unusual. You're required to cover a lot of ground because you're expected to have the ball very far up the pitch most of the time. It also looks like Arda Turan might be on the move, despite the fact that he only signed a year ago for around 40 million euros. They paid a huge amount for a guy who in the end they've got about 6 months out of. But this is their chance. Real Madrid and Atletico Madrid still seem to be staring down the barrel of a transfer ban, and Barcelona have an opportunity to pull away from those sides and develop their stranglehold still further on La Liga. So who do they need to sign to do that? What do they need to bring in to make sure that they can keep this league in their hands for the next 10 years? Let us know what you think in the comments below.
Next up, we're going to be looking at the German giants, Bayern Munich. Now, they have had a great summer, haven't they, Pato?
They have, but the thing is, they already had an absolutely phenomenal squad. They possibly have the best squad in world football. And Pep Guardiola, because he likes players who can play multiple roles, it means that the squad is pretty well set up for whoever were to come in next. As it is, it's Carlo Ancelotti. Now, we've seen at Real Madrid that there's a little bit of an issue for Zidane with transitioning a squad which is built to play 4-2-3-1 into a squad built to play 4-3-3, but that won't be a problem at Bayern Munich. We've seen that they've got people like Vidal, they've got Thiago Alcantara, they've got Xabi Alonso, and now they're adding still further to their midfield depth. They may still need a striker, but the signings they've made have been superb, haven't they?
Yeah, I think everybody at home will agree Bayern Munich are probably the best run club in world football. They never seem to have a hole in their squad, and if they do, it's filled with a season before that hole appears. Renato Sanchez being brought in this year is a fantastic, fantastic move. Probably Portugal's outstanding midfielder at the Euros, and he's only 18 years old. Carries the ball from deep brilliantly well, highly aggressive in the tackle. And of course, Mats Hummels from their direct rivals, Borussia Dortmund, leaves a hole in Borussia Dortmund's side and brings in a partner for Jerome Boateng. They play together at international level. A fantastic, fantastic distributor of the ball, Mats Hummels, allowed to bring the ball out of defence. He'll be a real asset to Carlo Ancelotti, who of course is one of the best coaches in world football as well. So Bayern Munich, you've had one hell of a summer, and for me, you're going to win another Bundesliga title.
So that was our assessment of some of Europe's biggest teams and how they've done this summer. But who else is having a great window? Let us know what you think in the comments below.
And if you enjoyed this video, why don't you check out the top 10 late bloomers of their career, the likes of Jamie Vardy, Didier Drogba, some massive names. It's playing on screen right now, and there's a link in the description. And as always, guys, please do like and subscribe.
Catch you next time.